we misrepresent what apologetics is all about. So we set the bar so high that, only the elite of the elite of the elite need apply, right? And then not only that, in case that's not enough to keep you from engaging in apologetics, the enemy then gives us this false idea of love that sees the horizontal not above the vertical, but instead of the vertical, okay, as the way that we define love. And as a result of that, people will deny the gospel and its implications, and we won't engage. Either because I just don't know enough to engage, because it's not that I just need to know the gospel and why I believe the gospel. Now I have to know every possible objection that this person could raise, every possible religion that this person could practice, every possible philosophy that this person could follow. Otherwise, I'm not qualified to get into this, right? So, and if they can't, and if the devil can't keep you out on those grounds, then he keeps you out on the grounds of, wait a minute, you about to say something? Because that's not nice. And the world rearranges chairs on the deck of the Titanic, and we watch it. We watch it. The band plays on while the ship sinks, and we watch it. We watch it. We sit in our comfortable lifeboat with room to spare, and we just listen until the whistles stop blowing and the screams stop rising and their bodies stop moving, so that when it's all said and done, we can say, at least we didn't offend anybody. You know this is not right. You know it's not. So if you've come to embrace or believe any of these objections, the first thing we need to deal with today is turning from them, rejecting them. This is not for the elite of the elite of the elite. This is for everybody. Amen? It's for all of us. It's for all of us. This is not unloving. It is the essence of being loving. Not only toward other people, but toward God. Amen? It is because we love God that we vindicate his name. We vindicate his righteousness because we love God. And we do this in the lives of people because we love people. I love you enough to offend you if necessary. Amen? It's not secondary. It's primary. And it's primary because what we're fighting against, what we're warring against, is people who are denying the gospel and its implications. The very root and core, the very warp and woof of our existence as Christians, the very essence of who our God is and who we are in him. And I believe when we understand these things rightly, we are provoked rightly. And the reason that we're provoked rightly is because we understand that we are not arrogant people standing up in front of the world saying, I'm smarter than you are. That is not apologetics. Apologetics is one beggar telling another beggar where he found bread. And you remember when I said that this is part and parcel of our evangelism, right? Because what are we proclaiming in our evangelism? We're proclaiming the gospel. So if we're engaging in evangelism and we run up against people who are perverting the gospel and its implications, right? What do? Do we just, keep going on with our presentation? They believe in the wrong Jesus. Okay, that's fine. You just keep holding on to that wrong Jesus and let me finish my Romans road. No. You believe in the wrong Jesus, I gotta stop and back up. Amen? That's not. I remember being on a plane and often, sometimes when I'm on the plane, again, full confession time. Sometimes I'm on the plane, my eyes are open, my spiritual eyes are open. I'm looking for opportunities. I'm looking for, other times I am worn out. And if I'm honest, I'm sitting back in my chair and closing my eyes. Lord, please don't let nobody talk to me. I don't want to talk to nobody. Just make everybody on this plane saved tonight. And if they're not saved, sit them by somebody who's not tired, right? I'm just being honest. Some days, right? And it just seems like those days are the days when people just come sit next to me screaming. We got to. So this one day in particular, I am worn out. And I'm about to fly from the West Coast back to Houston. I'm sitting back in my chair, like, please don't. And this lady comes and she's all bubbly and, and all this, just stuff. And she's sitting down, hey, how you doing? I'm fine. Yeah, great. But I'm speaking airplane language, okay? And if you've flown more than a few times, you understand that this right here, that means don't talk to me, right? I'm not being rude. We're on an airplane and there's just rules, right? And if I'm doing this right here, the rule is, unless you got to go to the bathroom and I'm blocking your way, just leave me alone. And if you got a condition and you're going to have to go multiple times, we just trade seats, right? You just tell me and I'll give you this seat right here. So you don't have to that's what, no, this lady, apparently it was her first flight or something. She didn't know what it meant. So, we're talking and all this and then finally there's a lull in the conversation and I'm like, great. Now I can lay back down. She pulls out her book and it's a book about Jesus. But there's these pictures on it and, the writing and the font and all this other stuff. I'm like, man, it's a new age book about Jesus. Well, it's not like I can lay back down now, right? And so, I was like, I see you reading a book about my Jesus. And she was like, what, your Jesus? I said, yeah, it's my Jesus. Yeah. And she was like, he's my Jesus too. Yeah, maybe. Depending on what you're reading in that book, right? It might be, as my kids would say, another Jesus, right? And sure enough, it was. It was. It's this new age, good man, good prophet, good teacher, guru, da-da-da-da-da. I spent the next 3 hours engaging with this lady, the whole rest of the flight, and when we're finished, she's still just sitting there, like writing notes down and talking about, it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. But why? Because she's sitting there reading about my Jesus, but it's this perversion of who he is. We ought to be rightly provoked by that. Not there's someone sitting by me who thinks they're smarter than I am. I must prove them wrong. And if you struggle with that, just do this. Okay? Just do this. I'm a martial artist. All right, I train and compete in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is it's one of the grappling arts, and essentially it's all about weaker, stronger people being able to defend themselves against bigger, stronger people. And one of my professors, and that's what we call him, a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is professor. Anybody lower than that who's a teacher, you call him coach, right? We don't even use sensei and all that stuff. He's just a professor. And he just, always just would say, especially to us bigger guys, if you want to understand how this particular art works, you got to stop thinking like you are always the biggest, strongest person on the mat. And I just looked at him one day and I was like, yeah, well, I am though, right? No, you got to stop thinking like that. First of all, because you won't always be, right? Found that out in the tournament. And he goes, secondly, you just won't even understand what we're trying to do here. You have to assume that every time you have an opponent, whether you're here or in terms of it, you got to walk on the mat assuming that this person is bigger and stronger than you are. That's the only way that you'll have even the proper mindset in this. In apologetics, guess what the wrong mindset is? I'm smarter than everybody. I don't prove I'm smarter than everybody. No. Just sit down going, this person, more than likely, smarter than I am. But that's okay, right? Because God uses the foolish things in this world to shame the wise. Amen? That's the proper perspective. And we'll see that when we get to Peter's passage. We don't do this because we think we're smarter than other people, because that's not why we're Christian. We're not Christians because we're smarter than other people. We figured it out. We're Christians by the grace of God. And we're Christians because somebody was weak enough, made themselves weak enough to bring us the precious gospel. And we have to be willing to make ourselves weak enough, to make ourselves fools if necessary, to bring the precious gospel to people. So no, this is not about arrogance. We're not provoked because we got to be the smartest person in the room. We're provoked because Christ must have the fullness of the reward for which he died. He must. He must. He must. That's what provokes us. The glory of God provokes us. The glorious message of the gospel. And the transcendent beauty of the miraculous salvation of sinners by his grace. That's what provokes us. And that's the attitude of the apologist. Amen?